Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay. Let's just give a couple of minutes for people to join us. Okay, we'll wait for 2 minutes. Okay, we're waiting 1 more minute. Okay, we'll start. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay, hopefully you're able to see it right now. Okay, so welcome to the first session of Get the Gold. My name, for those who don't know me, if you're a newbie, my name is Cesar Ramirez, and I'm MCVPPD. That means Partnership Development of ISIC in Sweden. So I will explain briefly for those who didn't attend the last webinar what is Get the Gold. So Get the Gold is a national sales marathon. This means this is a competition in order to activate sales in your LCs. So in order to become a good seller, you need to have education on what you're doing and how you will do it. So that's why we're having this education cycle based on the different stages that we have when we go through the sales process. First, we have first approaching a company, then you have the first meeting, and you do a negotiation. Then, when they say yes, you close. You have a contract. You create a new partnership, and then you go to experience delivering delivering what we promised to our partners. So, okay, the date here is wrong. It's not December. I think it's until April. We'll have these different webinars. The first one was last week, value proposition of global talent, and so all of the webinars are recorded. And so we're having webinars on networking, setting sales meetings, how to do sales meetings, sales closing techniques, and how to keep and grow your accounts. So, but Get the Goal is not only for you to have these sales webinars, but it's also to get things into action, to get things that you learned, to put them into practice. So we are actually looking for the people that will become the sellers of the month. So every month will be um, recognizing the people that are having the best performance in sales, that are having the highest number of sales meetings, that are closing the biggest number of partnerships. Then we will recognize the best seller for the semester. So last semester we had Celine, VP IGT of Lund. She actually got to close. At that time, it was 3 opportunities, so that was really really cool. And yeah, there will be more info coming. So this could be you getting the gold. And actually, we have in order to do the recognition, we have different categories for sellers. So we have the starter, so everyone starts from fresh with 0 points, and according to your performance, you start getting a number of points. So then we have bronze, silver, and gold. So from 0 to 150 points, you're started. And then if you get more than 150 points, up to 300, you're bronze, and then 300 to 500 silver, and then more than 500 gold. So far, Celine, she achieved, I think, around like almost 200 points. So she was bronze. And how do you get these points? You get these points by the different. We have two kind of activities. We have sprints and marathons. The sprints are the ones here in with the green title. So sprints are like more like smaller actions that you do day by day. For example, have a new for every new company you put on the CRM, you have 2 points. Sending a mail to a company and registering the CRM, that gives you 2 points. Attending a networking event, that gives you 10 points. Attending these webinars is 5 points. And after every webinar, we are releasing a form with a test. So if you answer 80% of the is that like between 7 to 10 questions top. If you and everything is based on the information we see on the webinar. So if you answer 80% of the questions correctly, you get 10 points. If you register one phone call to a company on CRM, you have 5 points, and when you get a sales meeting, you get 10 points. So I personally check all the information there's registered on the CRM. So I count on this every month or every week. We actually have a tracker in which I will be adding all of your points of our IGT members. And then we have marathons, which are bigger activities. So for example, having the full CRM prospection contacted, that's in points. So actually, if for every LC every month they have 30 companies, if they get to contact 30 companies, each member of IGT in the LC gets 10 points. Then if you attend a meeting, that's 15 points. And if you open an opportunity, that's 50 points. And actually, something very important, in order to go from level to level, you need to open at least one opportunity. So if you have 200 points, but you haven't opened an opportunity, you will still be on the starter phase until you get to open an opportunity. But most likely, if you have around 200 points, that's because you actually have achieved an opportunity, most likely. Cool. So wish you all the best and you have a lot of fun. So we will start with our second webinar. It is getting sales meetings. So for that, we have someone that you may already know, or you will get to know this person during our next conference. So this is Heidi Risk, all the way from Egypt. She's currently local growth manager, but maybe she can explain a little bit more of her IS experience. So I will stop sharing my screen. And Heidi, you can start presenting yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Heidi Riz. I'm currently local growth manager in Sweden. But to tell you more about me, I was selected as IGV team leader back in 2016, Q1, Q2. And I worked on 2 projects. It's Empower for gender equality and recycling as well. And then later on, I was selecting as IGE team leader in raising. And after that, I was VP IGE last year. So yeah, throughout my experience, I worked a lot in trying to get like NGOs, startups, and this kind of partnership. So right now, I'll be sharing with you my screen to see the PPT we've prepared for today.
Okay, sorry, before you start, Heidi. So
Yeah.
we have people watching. So you have on the YouTube, well, next to the video, you have a place in which the chat in which you can send us all of your questions. Actually, I made a question: which LC are you from? So if you're watching us, type what is your name and which LC you are from, and we will leave all of the questions to the end. So at the end of Heidi's presentation, we will read all of the questions. And yeah, and something very important is that Heidi actually was top one globally in her product. So pay a lot of attention because she has some good expertise on sales. So now you can go on.
Thank you, Cesar. So yeah, so starting with how do you get a sales meeting? I think like for all of you, especially with the timeline that we have currently, this is the next step for you. So let's just like recap on the basics of sales. So this is mainly for us to know more about a recap on the attraction process or the attraction phase, which is the first phase. So what you need to know is to understand how to get your leads. And by now, I'm sure that you're already getting this education about how important it is to be present in networking events and using your connections with people and trying to do your market research and know more about like what companies are around you in your LC. So starting with that, you need to work more on researching the market, understanding what's around you, how can you benefit from the market. Is it more of startups or is it companies or is it NGOs? So you can have this better analysis as well for later on in the future if you would open anything like other than IGT. So right now that if you know how to get your leads and you know how to research your market to understand it way better, it's time for you to start approaching. So to have a successful phone call, you need to start stalking. And I hate to say this, but like this is a skill that you should start gaining if you don't have it by now. But we're like the generation for social media, so all of us know how to use everything extremely well. So make use of that in your favor. So start by like searching your companies on like LinkedIn or Google. And the way to do this, and the way I used to do this as well, is to understand the hierarchy of the company that I'm approaching. So, for example, if we're saying that we're approaching startup, then you'd find that the hierarchy is more flat and it's more easy to approach the CEO right away because he is the decision maker at the end of the day. So it's more likely that you would have the meeting with them. But if we're talking about like small and intermediate prices, then the hierarchy is different. So if you just like not only search the company on LinkedIn, but search the employers there, that will be a lot of help that you can gain and a lot of information that you can gain about the company and therefore start using it for your advantage. And also you can just like Google them to understand more about what do they do, what's their market share, what's their competitive advantage, this kind of things, because then you would be able to notice their pain and what do they need currently. So now that we know who we're targeting, now that we know who are the people that we are going to be contacting, there is this set of general information that you need to have, like you need to memorize by heart in order to know how to present the product later on. And that is that for GT especially, because this is the only product running here as ICX, so it's very important. And therefore, for this general info, it's more focused on IGT. So for the duration, for example, it's for 3 months up to 18 months, but the usual that we offer here is 14 months. And the kind of background that we need is IT, marketing, engineering, finance, and business administration. And the way that you see IT as the first position, and also a lot of profiles are connected to IT, is that in Sweden we have a lot of application-based companies and startups, and therefore the need for them, for programmers, developers, C++ people, like Java, this kind of thing is very important here, and it's very attractive for them. But this does not like exclude that it is also important. The HR, the marketing, the business kind of sub product, like marketing, graphic design, sales, are important as well. So who we target mainly as EP is undergraduates and mainly master students. Why? Because you can see the most potential out of those people, and they will benefit a lot from the program as a start to their career. But this does not only mean that we target undergrads. We can also target graduates, and they can have like a bit of an experience into this field. And this is actually something very good for the company as well. So they can have more of talented people, not just like students still like going into their practical phase of career. Okay, so regarding financials, so the minimum salary that any company pay is 20,000 crown before taxes to any of our interns, and this is enough for them to live by, and it's very cheap. Um, and for our prices in ISEC, what we take is 10,000 crowns once we deliver one intern to the company. And for each month this person works in this company, we take 2,000 crowns. So if you, for the total, if we're saying 14 months, this can be 38,000. And this is very profitable for the MC or the LC in general. And it helps us a lot in being more financially stable as LCs. So, just a couple of tips for the phone calls is that you need to be very friendly. I would recommend you to actually smile while talking, because this gives a good vibe to the people. And just connect with the person if you see an opportunity to do so. So, for example, if you just notice that this person might be interested in football and you know a lot on football, just try to connect through this. But also know how to tackle this company pain and need. And as I told you before, you can do that by just like searching them and stalking them on social media, on Google, and just understanding what they are looking at the minute. And in the phone calls, you don't want to burn all your cards. So you need to be very concise, but just trigger this sense of curiosity for them to actually want to meet you. So moving on. So how can you start doing that into a very, I would say, organized way? Is that first, let's say that you're researching companies and you find something that you are interested in approaching. So the first thing that you do is to look on the CRM tool for duplicates, because you don't want to contact like a person that someone like other people are in contact with, because this will create a confusion to the person you're reaching, and they might have a bad impression about ISEC because of this. So we need to be very organized in how we approach companies, and we cannot just for two LCs to do the approaching at the same time. So let's say it's not a duplicate, just register the company so no one else can approach it, and we now understand why. And find the main contact. Focus on department heads or HR. The reason why we mentioned department heads and HR is, as I told you, like the main focus here in Sweden is IGT. So this is most likely the hierarchy that you will be dealing with. It's HR department or head department, but it's not likely that you would just go have a meeting with the CEO of a small or medium enterprises. So now that you make sure that there is no duplication, now that you know who's you're going to reach and how can you get their info, just call the company. And once you do that, you will face a bit of challenging to just overcome the receptionist answers. And this is the big like issue here, because you need to just pass this step in order to reach someone to actually talk with, because this the other part of the call is the one that will guarantee you the call, sorry, the guarantee the meeting. So let's say that you're just like asking someone like, please transfer me to this person. You might get that, okay, they're not busy at the minute. And I want you to be solution oriented in this kind of situation. So try to ask, okay, when they will be available. I might call them in an hour if that's okay. So if they say yes, they will be available in 1 hour, you can just call and follow up in 1 hour, and you can just reach the person. But if, for example, they say like, I don't know, like you cannot reach this person, you can just ask for the email of this person, and you can therefore try to reach him in a more direct way on email. And if they're interested, they will be sharing with you, like maybe their number, or they might invite you for a meeting. So yeah, these are the kind of things that I want you to keep in your head. It's not easy to get a meeting, and you'll face a lot of obstacles that you need to overcome throughout the phone call. And it's very critical at this point because they don't know you. So it's your first touch point with them. So, an example of what you can say once you reach the person you wanted to reach at first, and you think you can talk with them about ISEC, you need to have this sales pitch to do about ISEC. So what I would recommend you to do, make it personal, because then it can fit your personality more. But a general guideline to do that is that first you need to introduce who you are. So you say, hello, this is Heidi. I'm calling from ISEC and I work there as a business developer. So, or partnership developer. It's like more likely partnership development because like we're not for profit organization. But back when I was working when I was working as a business developer, I used to just mention that I'm a business developer. So yeah, it's kind of a habit thing. But for you as like members of ISEC and team leaders and VPs, just use partnership developer. Um, because this will give them the sense that you're someone important in the hierarchy, and most likely they would, okay, we can consider you. But if you say like, okay, I'm a member from ISEC, they don't know what you do. So yeah, just mention your name, saying that you're calling from ISEC and you're from partnership development function or partnership development team leader, and that you would like to speak with X, for example, if you know the name of the person that you're trying to reach. Uh, Another thing that you need to mention while doing your sales pitch on the phone is to try to mention briefly about ISEC. So you can just say that we're the largest youth-run organization in the world. We're present in more than 120 countries for more than 70 years. And some of the current partners that we have in Sweden are Volvo, Husqvarna, Electrolux, and we do partnership with companies. And the reason to why you might mention our current partners, this gives credibility to you and to your organization, and it gives them this sense that we work with different type of partners and we have no issue what they are working on. So for example, if they are application based, they wouldn't fear that like, okay, maybe we're working with some other industry so we cannot work with them. It's just like show them that we're flexible to work with anything, mainly, and tell them that we bring young talent to them to work on an internship along one, and they might actually be a full-timer later on. So right now, what did you exactly do? You introduced yourself, you introduced ISEC, you introduced your program, and you give a bit of a brief about your history in this country. So right now, you just move on to the next step, which is, okay, I would like to talk to you more about ISEC. And if you're free, we can have this appointment at maybe Monday at this time. But the thing is, when you propose a time, it's very important to arrange your schedule beforehand in order to propose a time that you are available in to this person. And if they say, okay, no, I might not be busy, you need to have like your plan B, I would say, which is another time that you might have that you might be available in, and propose this time for them. Is like, okay, so if not Monday, what about Tuesday at like 3 p.m.? They'll be like, no, I might be busy as well. Then you can just tell them, okay, so what time, the soonest time that we can meet and like it suits your availability. They can propose like maybe Thursday or Wednesday. Just say okay for that time, and try to look for support if you're not available at this time for someone else to go. But you wouldn't want to like maybe arrange a meeting in 3 weeks time or something, because they are always busy. So just try to get the nearest time, try to make it suit your availability. If not, then seek support and help from your team to cover for that. And of course, try to arrange your schedule around it as well. um, okay, yeah. So now that like you talked with the person, you know how to introduce ISEC and do your pitch sale. sometimes actually when you talk to people, you would find them part of ISIC back in the day. So I would like advise you to, just before you start your sales pitch, you'd be like, "Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm from ISIC. I'm from Partnership Development Function. Have you ever heard about ISIC before?" Just before you start. Why? Because if this person know about ISIC, it will be so much easier for you to talk to them and get a meeting, because they know more about ISIC and maybe they were part of it. Maybe they were like LCVP, LCP, or MC member, and therefore they know us quite well. And you would gain this credibility part. And if the circumstances with them is okay, they'll just invite you to a meeting. So if you do that, you can be saving some time for yourself. If not, then it's just a question to raise curiosity. Because if you ask someone, "Do you know ISIC?" and they said no, and then you tell them more about it, they were most likely to listen. Okay, moving on. So now that we targeted the people, we contacted them, we made sure if they are alumni or not, we did our like sale pitch. What comes next? What comes next is their reply about what you said. So you can get like through a lot of circumstances and a lot of situation with that. And this is why I personally recommend for phone calls or cold calls. I would recommend you to do it with your team in a working hours, so you can all learn from one another and see who's trying what method and what's working and what's the main issue that the partners around you might reject ISIC for. And like I would also recommend you, if you face this situations yourself, try to be persistent and try to understand why. So for example, they might say like, we're not like, we already have interns. So just like show them that, okay, since our interns are full time and they are up to a year and a half, they actually stay for a longer period and are more committed, and therefore they can be converted on a full timer kind of thing, and they would pay less. So if they see the benefits from ISIC side, they might, be more flexible, and therefore you'll be tackling their concerns. They might say like, we don't have the budget for this. And again, you just like make a simple comparison with other options like other than ISIC, and how ISIC is one of your like most effective, and how much does it cost currently to hire one person. And as we told before, it's 20,000 crown per month for the intern, and a total of 38,000 for ISIC, like in 14 months. So yeah, regarding objections, as I told you, it might be more on a personal side. So always try to shape your own experience, know the struggles around you, know how to tackle them in the most like smart, intelligent, emotionally intelligent way, for you to actually gain their trust, tackle their concerns, and therefore move forward. Okay, so to sum it up for you, what I think is the most critical part is how to reach the perfect pitch, because this is the first impression that you give. And as I told you before, always use like meeting time with your team to create a sales pitch for different target markets based on your like product, and this can be collected and practiced and modified by all of the team. Um, so if you're working on that, like for example, I had like team leaders, each had their own way of targeting people. Like one of them was like a medicine student, so she only targeted things that are related to health and healthcare, and she was very good at that. And therefore whenever she just got on the phone with someone, she knew how to talk, how to open discussion, and therefore get a better conversion rate. So I would recommend you to not only discover the market around you, but also try to focus on the things that you relate to the most and passionate about the most. So say like, if you're really into cars, okay, try this field. If you're really into I don't know, applications, try to get your leads in this kind of area, because you understand the most, and therefore you can tackle it very well. So, we're done with the content for today. So please start sharing your questions if you have any, and yeah, me and Cesar can help you answer them all.
Yes, are there any questions? Please let us know. By the way, I have to say to tell you people that my charger is not working, so I warn you that my computer may shut down in a minute. So if something happens, you were already warned. Thank God we made it to the end of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you for warning us, Cesar.
No questions? Yes, Arun, questions? Okay, Arun, I think you have a question. So talk now or... Okay, Arun is asking, is it recommendable to use both band call? What do you mean with band call? Do you mean warm call or... The question is it recommendable to use both band call and cold call? But I'm not sure what a band call is.
I think it's most likely warm calls or cold calls. But there is like just going for a visit, and this option you can explore as well. I used to do that back in Egypt whenever I cannot reach any company. I would just go there and I would ask for the person responsible to meet him, or just to schedule the meeting physically there with him later on. So you can do that. You can do warm calls or like mainly contacting people that you know in reality, and just like cold calls, which is, you know, what we explained today from A to Z, and mainly like how to get the leads and approach them and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that answered the questions.
Yeah, what I recommend you, like, also if you cannot reach the company by email or calls, I think this was a suggestion that I got and I really want to do it, but I haven't had the time, is to actually go to the company, but saying like, oh, I was passing by, and I'm interested in approaching your company. Like, actually, I would like to meet this person, or like, then you can ask for their contact or something, and or you can even meet them there and ask for an appointment later. Yep. Okay. So a band call is budget, authority, need, timeline. Band call. Okay. Have you heard about that before, Heidi?
Sorry, come again.
Band call is band stands for budget, authority, need, timeline.
I don't think I heard about it before, but
No.
if we can have like maybe um, more elaboration on that, I can recall if I encountered that when I was working in Egypt or not.
Yeah, I think kind of I've heard something about that. Like, I think these are elements that you need to take into consideration when you're calling to a company, but I'm not sure. So you can enlighten us, Arun. It sounds really interesting. Like Arun has been. It seems that Arun has been doing some research. Okay. Any other questions while Arun is elaborating? No, no questions. Okay, to understand the pace of the customer, it was though on your Expo. Okay, I propose you something, Aaron. Like I actually, you can share this with us during Impact, as we will be there, like person to person, or you can even send an audio to the IGT Moose group, and or to the Isaac in Sweden WhatsApp group, just like maybe explaining, uh, like super brief, and then in the IGT functional track during Impact, we can give you a space so you Claudia and you can teach us about that. I think that's like things you need to ask or to take into consideration when you go to a meeting with a company. But guys, just teach us what you learned there. All right. Any other question? Okay, if not, then let's end before my computer shuts down. So thank you very much, Heidi, for joining us and for sharing
Thank
your
you.
knowledge on sales. So
Thank you. And like for the people, just try to like approach us with any questions that you have at any point, certain point of time is totally okay. And yeah.
yes, perfect. So okay. Actually, I was going to announce for the next. Wait, I have an image here. Yes. Wait, I'm going to. Okay, so guys, I'm going to announce the webinar for the next week. So as usual, we're going to meet on Tuesday at 7 p.m. The link is going to be announced on the MC fan page. And the next, okay, the image is not opening, but the next webinar is on is about networking. So how to do networking. Okay, finally we'll be able to share my screen. Okay, I think you're able to see my screen. So yeah, the next session is networking for dummies. So it will be next Tuesday at 26th at 7 p.m. And our fast is going to be Dinara Nazar Matova. So she was MCP 1516 of ISIC in Kyrgyzstan. But before that, she was twice MCP. Well, back at the time it was BD, Business Development. Now it's PD. So she was 2 years MCPPD. So she also has a lot of experience. So we're looking forward for the next session, and thank you very much for everyone, to everyone for joining, and have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.